Good morning. Welcome, everyone, to the XDR 360 training course, Mastering Cyber Defense. And today we are going to cover session 5, which is about cloud security. Yeah, even though the title is Cloud Security Posture Management, this session is going to be a little broader. Last time we covered the endpoint security, right? So we're more focused on the endpoint devices like your Windows devices, Mac, and so on, right? The user devices. But the cloud workloads, or like when you have the things running in the clouds, those are also considered endpoints. So similar controls need to be applied there to protect the cloud workloads. So there will be two aspects of that that we are going to cover today. And what those two are going to be is what we call this two-pronged approach. That means cloud security posture management and cloud workload protection. So these are two different things. Cloud security posture management is more about compliance and configurations, while the cloud workload protection is more like protecting the actual work, the instances and the applications running in there. And as always, everything needs to be agent-based and agentless. So you will see cloud security posture management is more agentless. You don't need to put agent on the cloud workload endpoints, but the cloud workload protection, you would need to put agents on the endpoints. And then we are going to see how we are going to get data, for example, from Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, and hands-on learning in the console, right? So we can consider three public clouds: Azure, AWS, and Google, right? And you may be asking why we are talking about cloud security here, because when I moved my workloads to the cloud, I assume that Azure or Google, they are going to do the cybersecurity and protect my applications and workloads. So why when we need to talk about I'm paying so much for the public cloud, I'm assuming security is included there, right? But that is not the case. So every cloud provider has a similar chart like this matrix. This is for Microsoft Azure. There's a link I pulled from there, but Google has similar, AWS has similar, and actually CIS. Everything comes from the uh, CIS controls, right? So they have a matrix, like so everyone follows that matrix over here. So this outlines the responsibilities between the cloud provider, in this case Microsoft Azure, and the customer, like you as MSPs, like or your clients. So what we can do is we can to first, like if there's a on-prem, like many cloud providers also allow you to take some of their platform or applications and deploy on-prem, or or this can be your data center and all that. Then I think this is not cloud provider's responsibility, because now you own the infrastructure. So on-prem, so this color is customer, you have all the responsibility. And the SaaS, we looked at Microsoft 365. That is an example of a software as a service, right? In that case, also, there's a lot of responsibility were covered by Microsoft. Like in always all cases, if it's not on-prem, the cloud provider is going to provide cover the site, the physical network, the power needs to be there, basic network connectivity needs to be there, there needs to be servers, they will always this is their responsibility, right? But with SaaS, they also take more responsibility, but at the end, like even the SaaS security, you have to do that, like because now it is your data or your client's data, like whatever is in Microsoft Word, SharePoint, or any of the Microsoft 365 applications you are using. Like that's why we had that Microsoft 365 Security Essentials course, like how we can continuously monitor Microsoft 365 tenant, see everything is going in there, so we can protect that because this is not Microsoft's responsibility, right? So we looked at that, right? But today we are looking at these two middle columns, infrastructure as a service and platform as a service. Right? So what are these? What are examples of infrastructure as a service? Like for example, when you take a virtual machine in Azure, that is infrastructure because you are taking like a virtual machine there. Like it's not a physical host, and like you are somewhere over here. Like no, it is your responsibility to secure that virtual machine. Another example is like, for example, cloud storage, like our AWS S3, that to protect the data, it's your responsibility, right? And what are the examples of platform as a service? This is more like the service when a cloud provider offers. Some of the examples are, for example, Microsoft SQL service, right? So this is the database service, right? So that comes under platform as a service. So these are the, and there's a shared responsibility in both these cases. Like in infrastructure as a service, cloud provider has less responsibility, and you have more responsibility as the consumers of that infrastructure as a service. And in a platform as a service, there are also like even the network and the like for example, you have a Microsoft SQL service running, like how you protect that, like how you open that SQL port over the public internet or put in some firewall rules. You need to worry about these things. You still need to protect that SQL database. So that's why this shared responsibility comes into on-prem. It's all your responsibility. SaaS, like Microsoft 365, is a shared responsibility, and we had a course on that. And infrastructure as a service and platform as a service, as we are discussing, this is also a shared responsibility, like between you as a user of the cloud service and Microsoft. Okay, with that one, we again look at our trusty overall architecture, like how this cloud fits into this picture. Like, so this is public cloud. Like in the past, we talked about like secure access to the public cloud, right? More like a SASE. So SASE's role was securing access to the public cloud because now you have resources there. You don't want to expose those over the public internet. How your users, either remote users or at these sites, can access those resources securely. Like you put in a cyber gateway there, you can access those resources. But today's focus is what is happening inside the public cloud, right? How we secure that. It's not about just the access, securing the access, right? So that there are two parts: cloud security posture management and the workload protection, right? So this is how this fits into this big overall SASE XDR framework. And XDR 360, as we have seen, maybe recap, it gets data from the user's identity, from the network endpoints, third party, like your firewalls, switches, Wi-Fi access points, routers, like SaaS applications, Microsoft 365. We covered that on one of the previous sessions. But today's focus is the public cloud, like how we XDR, how it plays a role in securing the public cloud, both in terms of its security posture management as well as protecting what is running inside the public cloud. And in this picture, so this is where the cloud is very similar to what we did with Microsoft 365 SaaS. Like we did an integration, we were pulling the audit logs, were able to analyze those, and were able to kind of take actions back, like if there were some issues like phishing email and those type of things. But with the public cloud, we are going to do a similar integration, and we will be able to pull all the logs from the public cloud. And on top of that, just like at the endpoints in the last session, we had an agent running that could delete malicious files when we downloaded those. Similarly, on the public cloud, because those, for example, virtual machines are also endpoints. They are not, they may be Windows or Linux, but they are also endpoints. Like they are not end devices, but they are endpoints. Like so the second part is cloud workload protection. So we will put an agent on the endpoint in the public cloud and see how it protects the public cloud resources. And then everything's come into the XDR engine. The whole idea is this is a one platform with the visibility across all these, the identity, network, SaaS, cloud, and endpoints, and take actions, automated actions as much as possible. Okay. So now let's, yeah, I said agent-based, agentless. We have been talking about these two things. What these two things are, like, so I'm in the public cloud, either Azure, Google Cloud, AWS, or even Oracle or IBM. It doesn't matter for that purpose. Cloud security posture management, we don't need to put an agent on anything in the public cloud. We will just, with the API integrations, we can get the data. We can continuously monitor cloud infrastructure and analyze for any security gaps. Just with the APIs, we can pull in enough information to do that. And then we will be able to detect any misconfigurations and any compliance risks, right? Because we have whole that CIS controls and everything. We compare against those and we can find the gaps. And in some cases, we can fix those gaps either automatically or with providing the guidelines around that. Cloud workload protection is more like a endpoint protection. Like we call it zero trust security for cloud workloads, like the protecting your VMs and so on. So this will detect and removes threats inside the cloud software, like in your virtual machine, for example. Right? It's different. Like for that one, you need an agent there. Like so you, because now you want to have a lot more control on that workload, and you need to put an agent on that endpoint. So in summary, CSPM, the left side is more about uncovering cloud risks and misconfigurations, and the right side is about defending the cloud workloads. Right? And you need both. I mean, this two-pronged approach, you need both to get the total cloud security. Let's start with the right side, because this is going to look like very similar to the endpoint protection, the last session. You remember this, I just changed the title. Everything is still the same. And once we have this unified SASE XDR agent running on a VM, we can do all these things. We can do security configuration assessment. We can find and remove malware and the file integrity monitoring. Because this is not, cloud workload is just like another endpoint. Is mostly Linux, but it is still an endpoint. Like it has a operating system and a number of applications running there. Like from that point of view, this part is going to look very, very similar. Okay. And we can now get into the console and maybe first see this part, then I'll come back to the second part. So these are all my endpoints. So you can see in a workspace, I may have my Windows and my Mac and other devices, but this is my cloud workload also in my workspace. Basically, I deployed my Linux agent, just like a Windows agent, Mac agent on my virtual machine. So this is my virtual machine in Azure, and I have already did a VM session to that. This is my machine over there. And now I'm going to the same way as we did last time, right? We had that file downloaded there. So let's see, like we use this icar.org. We downloaded a file. Last time we were on a Windows machine, but now since I'm on a Linux machine with the CLI, I'm going to try to download a similar file. Like you can see, this is icar.org. And this is the file that I'm going to load to the root folder here. And there's nothing in the root folder at this point. If I download this file, if I have no protection, I should be able to download this file. Okay, file got downloaded. Let's see if it's there. No, it's gone because the XDR 360 got activated. It detected this is a malicious file and immediately removed it. So this is the Azure virtual machine, like, and since I have the agent running there, it's a cloud workload protection. So this is one simple example of malware removal, but this will do a lot more, like as we have seen with the endpoint protection. And now if we go back, I should be able to see, let's see if we go back to this endpoint in Azure, and we can try to look at some of the logs over here. So you can see I have now pinned this one. Like there are many events coming in over here. So let's see if we can find the one where this file got deleted. Yeah, you see, I mean, this is my central time, 10:46, just a minute ago when it got deleted, file deleted. This was the active response that that got activated, and we can open this and look at the details as. Uh, so these are all the details uh, about the deleted file. And some of the things you can see like exactly the details on this file, and so it will give you all the information. There's a MITRE techniques, what this was defense evasion and all that, file deleted, data destruction, and also what are different compliance frameworks uh, were in a way checked, like because NIST, PCI DSS, your SOC 2, and many other things. So this will be serve as the evidence for your compliance. Also, you have these controls in place. Like if a malware gets downloaded on your public cloud, it gets removed immediately. Like so, this can be evidence for your compliance as well with all the details. Like this was the file and all the information, detailed information around that. Yeah. So with this one, like we can look at few other things there as well. Once I'm there, this workload, as you can see, if I go back, there are a number of things. Like I clicked on that this workload, and if just and I'm on threat hunting. Like so, let's go back to these again because I want to show you the other things that were there. Like we just focused on looking these events. This is my workload. I can now see the other file integrity monitoring, like any changes in the file. In this example, there's a lot going on this endpoint. So you'll see many files getting changed and updated. So this is actually, we are running a cyber gateway on this one as well. Like any small things, even when cyber gateway is doing, like it's trying to find the local devices with the IP and mappings and all that, is creating some temporary files and deleting it. You can see everything is being logged and tracked over here. Like so, this is all the activity, file integrity monitoring, and all the other aspects of this as we discussed. Like so, basically, you have the cloud workload protection. Like just consider your whatever you have running in the public cloud as endpoint and protecting that. Uh, Now the second part, this cloud security posture management. Like now we are going to get, there's not going to be an agent. This is going to be like a Microsoft 365 integration. But this time we are going to use not the Microsoft 365 APIs. We are going to use this a newer and much broader and powerful framework from Microsoft, which is called Microsoft Graph API. Like this, with this one, you can do pretty much anything. Like so, if you are a developer, all different Microsoft things, how you interact and do your own development, some new use cases and all that, you can leverage these APIs. So this is a very powerful framework. So we will be using that. And for the Google Cloud, we are going to use a different framework. AWS has a similar framework. It is called PubSub. It's basically publishing and subscribing. Like so, this is a framework. So what is going to happen is because I'm going to subscribe like XDR 360 to all the logs, events, and order data, and what is happening in my Google Cloud, for example. Like, and there's a way in this pub sub, there'll be a topic, like, so you create a topic, and then all the logs will be published to that topic, and then you create a subscription, and then you say, I'm interested in this topic, and then you can pull all that. Right. So the whole idea is this is a highly scalable framework because you separate the publishers from the subscribers. So there may be other publishers, there are different type of logs publishing to the same topic, and there can be other subscriptions subscribing to the same topic, and so on. So this is the framework that we are going to use today. And we can start with any of these, since we are on this pub sub. I'm in my Google Cloud over here. So I already created a topic. This is a pretty crowded, I think, UI. So I created a topic. You can see this is my topic, right? And in my project and everything. And I also created a subscription. And of course, this subscription has all similar credentials, like we know, just like in Microsoft, you have a client ID, client secret, all those OAuth, right? We learned about OAuth, how you do that, because you need those service credentials to pull this data. But so this is how we are going to pull data from the Google Cloud, right? And we have Azure, I think in this one, like, yeah. So this is the Azure, like if I go to my apps, I've created the app over here. So this is the app that I'm going to use to pull data. It's very similar, you see, when we did Microsoft 365 integrations. I have the credentials, I have the client ID, I have a tenant ID and client secret over here, and that's all I need. The difference over here is what API permissions I'm giving. Like this time I'm using Microsoft Graph, as you can see. Like, so, yeah. So if I see add permission, I should be able to see. Like you see, Microsoft Graph is at the top. When we did last time, Microsoft 365, basically mostly Office 365, we use this Office 365 management APIs. But you can do everything in one place. Like if I go over here, my application permissions, you can see there are many things over here. Like you can, in this case, I'm interested in order logs and few other things. I think in the device management, like yeah, I also want to pull my Intune logs and few other things like over here. So this all the permissions are here for me to pull those logs. And now we can go this security posture management. I need all that data. This time I think I have another screen, full screen over here. I'll just go there. So this is where I'm, and we can go to first Google Cloud, for example, and again, so this is my dashboard, but we can go to the events and so on, because I already did that PubSub integration. You can see all these things are coming over here, like some events. So this is all about now my Google Cloud instance, like which region it is. And so these are all the logs, like not only like when somebody accesses something or something is happening in your infrastructure, everything is events and logs are now streamed to the XDR 360, where I can analyze those logs and take actions. I can run the compliance checks. When you do, if you have workloads in Azure, for example, and you want to do HIPAA compliance or PCI, you need all this data as well, because now your applications are running, your users are using that whatever is running in Azure. So you need this for compliance. So this all the data is coming from there. Like and you can also find in this case there was the GCP VPC firewall rule trigger, right? Whatever this is like. So you see everything is logged for compliance, but more if there's a malicious attempts, you can detect those and take action. So you can see I can bring everything from the Google Cloud into my XDR 360, right? And now we can go to the Azure. So let's see, maybe we can do threat hunting, because now I'm going to do in a different way. So I'm going to see, because there are rules over here. Like whenever, for example, the logs from Azure are coming, there are these rules that are continuously checking, like for if it matches with some threat, and they say, okay, this is level 5 alert, level 7, level 12, and all you see over here. Like I can see my rule group is Azure, because I just want to see those logs. Like I select over here. Now everything, like not much in my this Azure thing, but I can see all the events now. The Azure Log Analytics, like all these this level 3 very low, just more like a for information, but you see everything coming from Azure now over here, right? And this framework is much broader. Like so even though it's a cloud security, we had the Microsoft 365 SaaS things coming in, but you can also monitor your like Intune, like what applications. So with this one you can see, I think this number is very big, it's not even showing, like maybe over thousands applications running over here. So we have mostly Windows and Android registered with our Intune. You can see all the applications on Windows and so on. So this is again the same. Remember when I did the Microsoft Graph integration, I also selected give me the device management, like the Intune access, like what are the devices I have and what applications are running on the devices. Again, everything coming into one place with all the details and information. So in summarizing all that, I think the two aspects that we covered: cloud security, posture management, more about configurations and compliance, and we do API integration where we can pull that data. So this is a simpler approach, right? Because it's just you create, as I said, either a pub sub or the Microsoft Graph API. We can pull all the data, right? But if you want to do a more stronger protection of what you have running in Azure, and it is more like a infrastructure as a service or platform as a service, like if it's more you are just taking an app from Azure, maybe there's still that based on that shared responsibility, you need to do certain things. But if you are particularly using virtual machines in Azure, you also need cloud workload protection, like with all the endpoint protection capabilities that we just discussed.